now I want to invite Miss Greta Thunberg here. You can sit here. Yeah. Okay, but I think you need your headphones anyway. Okay. First of all, Greta, I would like to ask why you decided not to go Azerbaijan and participate this event on climate change, the biggest event of climate change, and instead you decided to come to Armenia and be here with us during this side event.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who is here, to the organizers of this event, and to the other panelists for sharing your invaluable perspectives on this. Actually, the reason why I'm not personally at COP is very, very simple. The basic principle of climate justice that me and many other climate activists, that is the reason why we are climate activists in the first place, are completely incompatible with the COP29 being held in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, as previous people here on stage have said, is an extremely repressive state, a petro state that is planning to expand fossil fuel production and is responsible for ethnic cleansing. It is absolutely nauseating, to say the least, the hypocrisy, the extreme hypocrisy that this climate conference, COP29, is being held in that country right now, and has been held in countries in similar situations the years before. Not only Azerbaijan is able to commit these horrible crimes and not being held accountable, but also they are given a pass and legitimacy and a platform on the world stage to legitimize these extreme human rights abuses and ethnic cleansing and greenwash this. And the world stands silent and gives them that opportunity time and time again, because of course this is not the only case. We need to stop pretending that having climate conferences in places like this, countries and states that are extremely repressing their own population, which many Azerbaijani activists that I've spoken to describe it as if they are living in a prison where their basic human rights are being stripped away from them as we speak, and are experiencing a continuous crackdown on civil society. And the voices who are demanding change are systematically being silenced and captivated. Also, as we have heard today, the ethnic cleansing that Azerbaijan is guilty of, and the continuous extreme hardships that many Armenians are facing because of the Azerbaijani military aggression, the torture, forcefully displacement, prisoners of war, hostages, and the ethnic cleansing and the extreme physical and psychological violence that people have experienced can in absolutely no way be justified. And the fact that the world continuously remains silent and let Azerbaijan greenwash these crimes is absolutely unacceptable. And another perspective is, of course, that Azerbaijan is a country completely built on fossil fuel production and are currently planning on expanding this production and exports. And the world that continues to import this fossil fuel from Azerbaijan and continues to be silent about these humanitarian crises is of course complicit. We cannot pick and choose which humanitarian struggles and which human rights abuses we are speaking up on, because if we are standing up for justice, that has to mean justice for everyone.
Thank you, Greta. Now I think that everyone wants to ask. Now I think that people want to ask questions to our panelists and Greta. Questions from? Is there? Okay, you can maybe come here and near them. Okay.
So, Ms. Thunberg, first of all, thank you for addressing the COP29 issue at such a scope and for supporting the Armenian-Azerbaijani discussions. My question relates to the climate action in a more global range. So many developing countries lack the economic resources to transition to green production and consumption, often relying on fossil fuels and less sustainable practices to support their economies and meet basic needs. How do you think these nations can effectively reduce their greenhouse gas footprint while still addressing their development challenges? And what role should wealthier countries play in supporting this transition? Thank you in advance.
That question is more or less the key unsolvable issue within these climate negotiations. And currently, what is being discussed at COP29 is, of course, the question of losses and damages and who are eligible for paying these. And of course, since we are talking about climate justice, that has to mean that the countries historically and currently, both totally and per capita, responsible for the emissions and the climate crisis and the effects that we are seeing now must contribute more. It is a question of both science but also basic morality. This is a question that could be talked about forever and ever. So I don't want to take up much more time, but at least for me and for people who consider themselves to be climate justice activists, there's no alternative than those countries who both have the political and financial possibility of contributing more, but most of all have the responsibility, much more responsibility in this crisis, has to be the ones who are paying for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah? Okay.
Միացված է, շնորհակալություն։ Սիրելի Գրետա, ես հայերեն կներկայացնեմ իմ հարցը։ Ես ներկայացնում եմ Բաբունտերա հայ կանանց նախաձեռնությունը, որը հիմնվել է դեռևս 2 տարի առաջ Արցախը հայկական պահելու նպատակով։ Այս իմաստով ուզում եմ ձեզ շնորհակալություն հայտնել անձամբ եւ նաեւ մեր կազմակերպության անունից, որ դուք այստեղ եք աջակցելու Հայաստանին եւ Արցախի ժողովրդին այս դժվար ժամանակաշրջանում։ Դուք երիտասարդ գեղեցիկ կին եք եւ ես կուզենայի մի փոքր անձնական հարց ձեզ տալ։ Ինչպես եք դուք դիմակայում այն բոլոր դժվարություններին, որովհետեւ լինել երիտասարդ եւ աղջիկ եւ լինել քաղաքականության մեջ եւ լինել էկոակտիվիստ շատ դժվար է։ Մի փոքր կիսվեք մեզ հետ, որովհետեւ դա կլինի նաեւ ուղեցույց եւ ապագայի համար գեղեցիկ, այսպես ասած, հուշում, ինչպես լինել այդ ամենի մեջ եւ չընկրկել։ Շնորհակալություն եւ շնորհակալություն, որ դուք Հայաստանում եք եւ մեզ աջակցում եք եւ հուսով եմ, որ ձեզ մոտ ամեն ինչ լավ կլինի ապագայում։ Շնորհակալ եմ։
for me, I think a lot of why I and many others are activists and are engaging in this is that we have a choice to do it. The fact that I don't have to wake up every morning and fight for me and my people's right to exist is a sign that I am extremely privileged. Because for many, not the least the Artsakh Armenians, just to exist is a matter of resistance. And I have the right to choose to engage in activism and to speak up of these issues, while many people don't have that possibility. And the fact that I have that opportunity, the possibility, means that I'm extremely privileged, and that I have a privilege means that I have a moral obligation to speak up. Everyone today has some sort of responsibility, and the gravity of that responsibility, of course, varies a lot. And if you are, like me, an extremely privileged person, by speaking up, and I don't endanger my freedom or my life or my security in many, many ways, means that I have an extremely big responsibility. And I do not understand why there are not more people who can speak up and who can dedicate their lives to, for example, climate activism or human rights activism. I don't understand why there aren't more people doing it, because of course we have an extreme moral obligation to do it. And then of course, with standing up for those issues, especially being a young woman, of course comes with its difficulties, but it is nothing at all compared to what people who are subjected to these extreme human rights abuses have to experience every day. So it's all about perspective.
Thank you. Երևի լրագրողներից տանք մի հատ հարց այստեղ
Thank you. Thank you, Greta, for being in Armenia, in a land of ancient wisdom and contemporary challenges. I would like to ask, maybe you have heard about the Aurora Prize. It's a global humanitarian award of awakening humanity. And the founder of this prize is kept in Baku jail together with other Armenian and other nationality hostages. My question is, what would you recommend how to address to worldwide Armenian communities and diasporas? You, as a young girl who moved millions to action, how to act to raise awareness about this humanitarian issue? Thank you.
To the Armenian population, it really is not up to Armenians to take on that responsibility, because people are doing so much. People are dedicating their entire lives and all their time to raise awareness about these issues. It is really up to the international community now to, and should have been much long ago, to raise awareness about this and to speak up and do everything in their power to end their complicity and to demand freedom and justice and an immediate release to all the prisoners of war, the hostages and the political prisoners in Azerbaijan. Having that said, I think that the other panelists might be more eligible to answer.
Okay, thank you, Greta. If you have any other questions to our panelists, because we have again second panel, and you will have the opportunity to ask questions to Greta. Any questions to panelists?
Yes, I have the mic. Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi. Why do you think international community is silent about the genocides that Azerbaijan is making? And so far we didn't heard any speeches in COP29 about Armenians, about Azeri crimes. What you will suggest them to do in COP29 now, right now?
I think there's both the extreme lack of awareness, which leads many people to be silent, but also that, of course, people, when it's not something that directly affects them, have a horrible tendency to not do anything about it. And coming back to COP, the fact that it is being held in Azerbaijan comes with so many different challenges, adding to the ones we have already said. How can we expect civil society to put real pressure on both the Azerbaijani states and also all world leaders who are currently there when they are afraid of that what they can say and do may lead to punishment and that the conditions for them being there are so extremely uncertain. That means, of course, both that the Azerbaijani state remains not being held to account in these cases that they need to be held accountable, but also in the sense of the climate, that the world leaders who are there, their action and inaction on the climate and human rights abuses, of course, that are very linked to that, also remain not held to account. So in every possible way, it is extremely, it is a slap in the face, both for the people who are suffering from the climate crisis and those who are in every way suffering the consequences of the actions of the Aliyev regime, the Azerbaijani state, because they are so actively silencing the voices who are bringing this up.
Okay, let's sum up this panel. We again will have the opportunity to ask questions to Greta during the last panel discussion. Thank you everyone for participating in this panel, and thank you, Greta.